Homemaking for me is all about acceptance. About chasing what makes you happy. Whether you're a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter, a roommate, or an individual living by yourself. I am Issa Reyes, and I'm a professional home organizer. In this book, I will be sharing with you a technique that I created after years of working in Filipino homes. And it all boils down to three things: sorting, detaching, and rehoming. In its simplest terms, it's about finding happiness in your own home. Neat Obsessions is more than just a business. In fact, it only started as a social media page so I can share what I love doing at home. I didn't realize that it will turn out into an advocacy brought about by my passion in homemaking. Now, Neat Obsessions is a movement towards making sure that homemaking is not just a task of one, but for everyone. Make sure to get a copy of the Neat Obsessions book, now available. So, are you ready to begin your own neat journey?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining Neat Obsessions with Issa Reyes. Hi, everyone. Neat Obsessions with Issa Reyes is one of the many virtual events of the 2020 Philippine Readers and Writers Festival, brought to you by National Bookstore, with special thanks to Raffles Macani. Thank you, Raffles. So before we start, we invite you to shop first for books online on nationalbookstore.com if you haven't yet, and through the official NBS store on the Lazada app. By the way, did you know you can also shop from the NBS branches via chat to shop on Facebook Messenger? So just text to order through SMS or Viber if you have anything that you wanted to buy. And also, as a special offer this time for the Philippine Readers and Writers Festival, you can get 10% off on local books and up to 20% off on imported books when you shop online from September 25 to October 4 only. So check out now, limited stock available. So guys, thank you again for being here and welcome to the official book launch of Neat Obsessions, the official and the very first Neat Obsessions book. It's starting your journey to organizing, productivity, and happiness. Today is very exciting. We'll get to know first-time author Issa Reyes and her brand. I'm sure you know her brand. Everyone knows her brand now. Neat Obsessions. Everyone is obsessed about their homes right now. Also, I'm sure you know Marie Kondo. I'm sure you've decluttered a lot of people and things in your life. So if you know Marie Kondo and love Marie Kondo, this time Issa Reyes is our very own, the Philippine version of Marie Kondo. She's a professional organizer who will help us, incorporate all of these teachings and being neat in our lives in the Philippine setup. She knows what it takes to be professional organizers, and actually she also trained with Marie Kondo. So we'll know more about that later. So before we start, I wanna bring her in to start everything. Again, guys, welcome Issa Reyes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Issa.
Jovi. How are
How?
you?
Oh, I missed Issa. Guys, we have been working on the book throughout this year, and I haven't seen her because of the pandemic. So I miss you, Issa. How are you doing?
I miss you too. I miss the nonstop exchanging of messages and the manuscript. Parang nakailang ping-pong tayo ng manuscript. But finally, we're here. I cannot imagine that we're doing this now. After a year of preparation, we're now doing this. And I'm very excited to reach out to a lot of readers and homemakers and help them how they can also organize their homes.
That's right. Okay. Before we start, I wanted you to help introduce Neat Obsessions, the brand, to those who are watching us right now, to those who are not yet familiar with the Neat Obsessions brand. What is it? How did it start? Walk us through the birth of Neat Obsessions.
Okay, so to everyone who just, to those who just tuned in. So again, I am Issa Reyes. I am a professional home organizer, and um, a little backstory of how it all started. So Neat Obsession started out as a social media page, and I created an account both in Instagram and Facebook where I can share what I love doing at home. And little did I know that there is an opportunity waiting for me. I never planned it to be a business until a friend brought up the idea and sent me IG handles of professional organizers abroad. And that's how it started. My husband was my partner in making sure that this is going to be a viable business. And I am very blessed to have amazing roster of clients from celebrities and homemakers alike who trusted me to help them with their homes.
That is amazing. I can remember it was last year, right, when we started brainstorming about meetup sessions. Can you remember what happened last year?
I was actually in shock when someone from ABS-CBN, aka Jovi,
It,
messaged
that's
me.
me. That's actually me. Yes. Okay.
Yes, Jovi messaged me in Instagram out of the blue. Eh, alam mo na yan, last year pa naman nauuso yung mga prank, di ba? So parang ako, legit ba to?
Oh no. I think my Instagram account was so dodgy. I looked like a prankster, no?
I know, but I actually, I tried to recall that, and I browsed through it last night. I even posted it in my Instagram stories, and um, it was a very exciting moment when you texted me and invited me and said ABS-CBN wanted to collaborate with you and wanted to write with you. And I saw that on that day, I actually said, yes, email me, call, contact
Yeah.
me. And it's something that I know it's an opportunity that it's not, parang it's too good to let it pass. So I said, okay, whatever it is, I will just say yes right away. And then bahala na kung anong mangyayari afterwards. So yeah, so it has been a year since that message. And I'm really, really grateful that ABS-CBN found me, or Jovi found me. I don't know who is, but I'm glad that ABS-CBN did and actually opened up this opportunity because it was never in my plans to write a book. It never actually dawned on me that in this lifetime I'm writing some. I'm going to be an author. But so thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you to Isa for being a part of, for letting us be a part of your journey. I wanted to help readers, and aspiring writers know more about what it takes to write a book for first time writers, those who didn't know they want to write a book, or now they know they want to write a book. They want to get to know you later on, but I want to park that first. I want to talk about more about the Neat Obsessions book. So what is the Neat Obsessions book about, and how will it help Filipinos, especially since we're very familiar, of course, I've mentioned a while ago, with Marie Kondo and the blockbuster success of her show on Netflix. And I think that brought a lot of people back to, I want to organize my home. And then the pandemic happened, and then everyone was like, yes, now I really want to organize my home. I want to keep it,
Yes.
nice, and not just nice, but neat. So talk to us more about what this book adds to that experience for Philippines.
Okay. So basically, it was actually parang, a puzzle for me to solve, no, when I started the Neat Obsessions business first. Kasi parang, how can I be of service ba to Filipino homes, given that I know that in each Filipino homes, there is already a homemaker, someone who makes sure that everything is in place, there's food on the table and things like that. And um, before I was a little apprehensive actually offering the service to other homes because I'm thinking, kailangan pa ba ng Pinoy to? Parang baka naman they find it na I'm invading their privacy. But little did I know when I opened up the page that there are a lot of homemakers who is really needing of help. And when I saw the humility from different types of homemakers and admitting to themselves that, you know what, I really need your help. Parang that's when I started creating a system on how we can efficiently be successful in every project. And most of the time, actually, yeah, most of the time, pare-pareho talaga ng pare-pareho talaga yung pinanggagalingan ng mga Pinoys. And when you invited me to write this book, I wanted to make sure that I will come up with a technique that is easy for Filipinos to digest. I always say, while I'm a KonMari consultant in training, I realize that our culture is very much different to the Americans and also the Japanese. Japanese are very intentional when they buy something. They understand that their houses are small and they really just buy the things that they need, so when they go through decluttering, it's easy for them to identify which ones to let go. But the Americans, on the other hand, their culture is also different because the way they get things, ang bilis lang. And they got it for $1 or they got it in bulk. So when they go through the decluttering phase, mabilis lang din kasi pwede ko naman palitan. Pag nag-sale yan, mura ko lang ulit makukuha.
Right.
So that's when I realized na iba yung style pag sa Pinoy. Because in every Pinoy homes, bawat hawakan mo, may story behind it.
So this is the one that I got from my mother's sister. This one I got from way back in high school. Diba? Lahat may story attached, no?
So may story talaga behind every item. Parang, they let me into parang their past, their present, and their future. Ganun ang Pinoy. So minsan parang ang hirap if you introduce decluttering right away, there's a lot of parang resentment that's gonna happen and parang a lot of wag muna, hindi pa ako ready. So in the book, I actually focused more on the why than the how. Because the reason why I focused on the why is because we grew up resenting cleaning. Diba? Yan yung mga, dyan tayo mga nagro-roll eyes madalas. Pag pinaglinis ka ng nanay mo, tsaka ng tatay mo, bakit pa kailangan kong maglinis? Ano bang magagawa nun sa buhay ko? But that's why I wanted to make sure that the tone of, the words that I use, the tone that I used in the book, it's not imposing. I don't want the readers to feel that I'm dictating them what they need to do, but I want to understand why there is a need for them to accept in their lives that they are homemakers and how organizing can help them manage that.
Right. Throughout the process that I've read and edited the book, I'm not a very neat person. Like super 0% neat. My house, especially since, our life, we're always outside. So the house is just for sleeping and then waking up and then you sleep again. So there's really no concept of I have to keep these things in place. But then after I've read Neat Obsessions, this is no joke. I am not just plugging Neat Obsessions, but wow, after I've read the manuscript, after I've edited it, you will really realize that everyone should be a homemaker. I should be a homemaker because it's my way of taking care of myself as well. It's not just a nice home, it's also a clean, safe, and healthy home. And I think that became even more important because of the COVID pandemic, right? I remember, can you share with us some of the tips that you have for keeping your home safe? Because I've been to your home once only during the pandemic because we had to finish some stuff for the book. And I've seen Issa has been so amazing with keeping her house safe this pandemic. So can you share with us some of these tips that you have in your home?
Well, of course, yung before, parang if you are doing the cleaning and the organizing at home as, parang a one-time event every month, like the general cleaning type, it's good that you tuck in a habit of cleaning your homes every day, like maybe 30 minutes. Yun laging sinasabi ng tatay ko sa akin eh. Kahit 30 minutes lang, maglinis ka lang ng part ng bahay mo. And it's really important, especially now with all the ins and outs of the items that we are receiving, diba? So make sure that you sanitize all of the items that are coming in your home kasi posible na sila din yung magdala ng virus sa inyo. What else? It's good that you keep everything that you need for sanitizing. So it's good to have like a sanitizing basket near your door para if ever you need to step out, all the items that you need is already there.
Mhm.
And yeah, so basically it's very basic, and I think nakakatawa nga kasi parang I was trying to remember what happened in this entire process, and parang nung sinend ko na sa inyo yung manuscript ng book, that's where a lot of worry started to cripple in. Kasi parang our deliverables were halted by the lockdown and the
Right,
pandemic. And
right,
we were already planning on how we're going to do the launch and how we're
right.
going to market the book. But all the CQs already happened. But no, looking at it, I wouldn't have it any other way because God's timing is always the perfect timing. Imagine we're doing this launch now at a time where people are at home,
Mhm.
and this time where we are given limited resources or choices but to stay at home and do most of our work at home. And I'm really hoping that this book is something that will help you understand why homemaking is an important aspect of your life, and how it's really going to help you create that sanctuary in your home and make sure that you will always feel at home.
Right. That's amazing. Speaking of, making your sanctuary at home, you've mentioned that there's a special technique that you've created in this book for Filipinos to guide them during the organizing process. Can you talk to us more about this technique? What's it called and how can we apply it in our lives?
Okay, so when I started the Neat Obsessions business, we have a process, but that process is nameless. Parang all I know is that this is what we're going to do first, and then we will progress to how we're going to put back all the items. So it's nameless. Wala talagang tawag dun sa process na yon. So when I created the book and I'm translating now everything into words, parang I tried actually Googling some like what are the steps in organizing, kasi parang never ko pa din nagawa yon. So I wanted to understand, meron bang iba who already came up with technique on how to help people organize? But most of the time, like when you Google it, it's always declutter first, and it's very general. Like Google is actually giving you general tips on how to do organizing, but not really an entire process na you can follow. So what I created is actually the things that we do in our projects. So isa lang yung sinagot ko dito sa chapter na to, which is how are we successful in organizing other people's home? And then I came up with a technique and I call it the homeward technique. You know why? Because when I do projects, that's the most common reaction that I get from my clients. Like after na ipapakita ko na sa kanila ano yung itsura ng room nila or ng kitchen nila, they always say, ganito to nung una kaming lumipat eh. Or I feel like home. And it's like parang nasa bahay ba talaga ako? Parang ibang bahay to. And I call it the homeward technique because it's you coming home to your home. And that is what the homeward technique is about. So I made sure that it's also easy to follow. It's a three-step process, and what you need to do is just to sort, detach, and rehome. So madali lang.
Just three steps.
3 steps.
Easy
Yes.
peasy. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Can you talk
So
to us more about these three amazing magical steps?
Okay, so 3 steps lang siya. So first is, which is very applicable to us Pinoys, is you have to sort first. Okay? So when you sort, just make sure that you treat things at face value. So a white shirt is a shirt and not a short shirt that you wore during your first date. It's it's not that. So categorize as how your eyes can see it. Why? Because if you are going to put all the stories behind each of the items that you touch, then it's going to halt the entire process. The reason why we are successful in organizing other people's home is because we don't know the story behind those things. So we just sort it the way we see it.
Right.
Diba? So imposible. ilang beses na ba nating ginawa na, okay, mag-organize ako today. Tapos pagpunta mo sa closet, ayan na, nagsukat ka na. Tapos nalungkot ka pa kasi hindi na siya kasya.
Right.
So, ang dami mong nararamdaman if you're doing it that way. But if you're going to do it objectively, then almost mechanically you can actually come up with categories that is later on easy for you to follow. Okay, so that's sorting for you. And then the next one is detaching. So I just changed the term, but detaching is actually part of detaching is decluttering. Okay, so there are two subcategories in this step, and that is de-owning and re-owning. Kasi sometimes if we just do decluttering, then in our mindset, what we think of is we need to let go of a lot of things, or we need to make sure that it will, things that I don't need, out na yan dito sa bahay. So minsan nawawala yung step where you actually re-own your items. Sometimes if masyado ka nang engrossed dun sa pagde-declutter, sometimes you get to throw things that possible na pwede mo pa rin gamitin in the future. No? So what detaching actually do to you is you get to be more intentional on the things that you own. That's where you do the emotional part of it, where you assign, ano nga bang functionality nitong gamit na to? Is this item a sentimental item? Note lang though that if you treat everything as sentimental, then nothing is. Okay?
Right.
So you have to make sure that the sentimental items that you own really really shout sentimental, talagang something that has a meaning in your life that, defines your past, present, and future. But the thing is, what's happening to us is we live so much in the past, we keep so much things in the past that there's no more room for your present and then future. Diba? So how would you like to define your lives now? So the most important thing is know what is your current lifestyle. What are the roles that you are fulfilling now? Diba? And make room for that. Kasi ang nangyayari, diba, parang minsan when I go inside a client's house, they will say, I want to organize our home, but wag nating galawin yung portion na para sa asawa ko kasi those are, so diba, parang you have to make sure that, all of you are interconnected and related inside the house, and know that, the space that you are intentional with the space that you allot in the home. And then the third one is rehoming. So this is the step where you put back the items that you've already accepted that will remain in your life. And just a word of warning though, buying storage bins doesn't mean that you will be organized. Okay? Kasi most of the time, like, people will message me and ask me, Isa, ano yung bins na dapat bilihin ko for ganito? And what I wanted to understand is, ano ba yung ilalagay mo dun sa bin? Kasi baka naman 3 piraso lang yan, but ilalagay pa natin sa loob ng bin, di ba? So again, the bins will help you come up with an efficient system at home. Di ba? So in rehoming, you have to understand like the placement of things. Make sure that your everyday items is in the most accessible part of the shelf. Kasi this is a challenge for those who are watching right now. You go to your kitchen and the height, like the space,
Counter.
the counter, below your hips, and the shelving that you can reach up to, like when you raise your hand, that's your active area. Okay, so when I say it's your active area, so you have to make sure that everything that you use dapat nandun sa area na yon. So the shelving below your waist and the cabinet that you can reach up high. na nakataas. You don't need a stool, a step stool or a chair, diba? So ibig sabihin, if you see that when you open the drawers and nakita mo doon na parang 1 year na yatang hindi gumagalaw to dito, then it means that you're actually wasting an active area. Okay? So that's what rehoming does to you naman. So you now, in detaching, you're intentional with the items that you own, and in rehoming, you're now intentional of the space that you move in. Okay? At the end of the day, the homeward technique is actually helping you understand that the um, most important aspect that you need to remember in organizing is that you should be the one that is comfortable in that space, not your things.
That's right.
Okay? Diba? Di ka na nakakahiga sa kama mo kasi lahat ng trabaho mo nandun. Diba? Parang minsan doon ka na sa sahig nagtatrabaho kasi yung mga papel nasa kama. So you have to always think about yourself and make sure that you are comfortable and you can relax and you can lounge. And that's what having a sanctuary means. So
Right.
there, that's the homework technique. Madali lang, diba?
That's true. And speaking of sanctuary, again, I know a lot of people who are listening to us right now, their sanctuaries are their reading spaces. You have a really nice collection of books behind you. We can see that.
Yes.
And a lot of people, we've been building up our collections. And of course, National Bookstore and ABS-CBN Books, they have a lot of sales. So we will be buying more. Issa, we have to fix our bookshelves. Can you help us? How do we use the homework technique to fix our bookshelves? Is it different for everyone, or is there like a general technique that works for all kinds of bookshelves and book hoarders, if that's the right term?
Parang hindi ko alam tong question na to, Jovi. Parang no, but you know what? It's funny because you're asking me this question now, and I actually posted this morning
Right.
in my stories different ways on how you can organize your book. Parang we're thinking alike na, Jovi.
Yeah.
So if you notice, like at the back, so that's my
Look at
bookshelf.
that.
So there are a
Amazing.
lot of ways for you to arrange your books. So the first thing you need to do is sort out your books first according to genre, according to author, according to series. Because you don't want, especially with the series, no, ayaw mo naman na hiwa-hiwalay sila. So make sure that all of those things, all of those categories are together. And then second, let go those that you wish to donate or sell, or the books that didn't actually create an impact in your life.
Mhm.
So, but could be for someone else. Kasi ang books, ang hirap naman if you're just going to throw it away. No, you can always donate it in libraries, in schools. So, and someone will benefit from it. And own back those that you haven't read, and those that created an impact in and you want to reread again. So basically in our bookshelf, ayan, para meron tayong show and tell. So in my bookshelf, I opted to arrange it by color because yes, my husband and I try to read every once in a while, and we have a very few collection. But this is actually, if you watched my YouTube video about not naman the renovation, but when we updated this space, di ba, Jovi, when you went here, iba pa yung itsura nito. We have like a small bookshelf lang at the back. This is what I want you to remember, no? Even if I have a lot of space in this bookshelf now compared to before, let us not make it a habit na since maluwag, punuin natin. So, di ba? So, wag natin gawin yon. Kasi nga, again, it's good that you have an extra space for the future because, again, I'm not the only one living in this house. My kids also own this house. My husband is also part of this house. So I want to make sure that if ever they will add up to whatever collection we have here, there's still space for it. And these are actually books that we wanted to keep. And as mentioned, books that created an impact in our lives. Kasi we tried to declutter also every once in a while. So we removed na those that we wanted to donate. And third is, so yun, you have to make sure that when you store books it's not in a damp area. Some people wants to read in the bathroom.
Me, I
So
do.
yeah,
Oh no.
so make
But I don't
sure
store
that
them there. I don't store them
exactly.
there.
Exactly. So if ever you're going to read in the bathroom, make sure that when you're done, remove it in there because it's a damp area. So the books can also be a breeding ground for molds and bacteria. But if you don't have naman like a space for bookshelf and you want to keep it in storage, if ever you're going to put it in a basket, then make sure that you add silica gel so that it will help absorb the moisture. Kasi through time, nasisira yung quality ng paper. Okay? And so there. So I hope I wish to see like if ever you're going to arrange your book collection, if you can tag me in Instagram, I would love to see your own homeward process.
So cool. Anyone else, if anyone that's watching right now, if you have questions like that for Isa, how do I organize this? How do I fix this part of my house? Please leave that question below, and later on in the Q&A, we'll have time to answer those questions. So please drop in your questions for Isa there in the comment box below on Facebook and on Lazada. Before we move forward with the Q&A, we have a lot of questions for you, Isa. We also want to touch base on, how homework technique is actually applicable, not just in organizing your home, but also in organizing your life, your plans, your future. This is so interesting because it ties together the what Isa said a while ago, that organizing is not just, about your home, keeping it neat and tidy. It's about your life, your family's safety, your family's happiness. So for everyone who is listening right now, who want to follow your footsteps and be an author of their very first book, you've been through that experience. How can we use the homework technique to do that if you want to write our own book? Because it's hard. Sometimes you get, all of these thoughts, all of these ideas. So how do I start on that journey?
Okay. So if you're going to apply the homework technique when you're writing a book, so my tips are first, you sort out your thoughts first. So all the negativity, you set that aside. All the doubts, set it aside. And then list down the topics and the ideas that you would like to share. List it down. Wag ka munang wala munang decluttering of thoughts and ideas. Just list down everything that you want to share. And then second, let go of the topics that is not relevant and those that keeps on repeating. And then the third one, you pick out those that doesn't belong in the particular chapter and move it to where it's more fitting, and accept that this book is the book that you love and will be proud of, and trust that someone will benefit from it. And that's how you rehome your feelings about writing a book.
And the Neat Obsessions book has already touched so many lives, so many people. If you've been following Neat Obsessions, so many people have already ordered online. We've sold out thousands of copies already, and we are in the process of reprinting. So congratulations on that, Isa. I'm so happy for the book. So guys, if you don't want to miss out, ubusan na. So mag-order na kayo, please, on National Bookstore, on Lazada. You can even message them on Facebook to order a book, or i-add nyo na sa mga carts nyo yung Neat Obsessions book. Because that has been flying off the shelves. So congratulations. Before we go to the Q&A, please guys, send in your questions to Issa Reyes. Maybe it's about organizing your home. You have a question about organizing your life. Because Issa is actually a psychology graduate. So there is a foundation on how she built this homework technique. So if you have questions about your life too, maybe she can answer that. If you have questions about writing your very first book, challenges that you've encountered, maybe she can help you sort through that as well. Please send them on the comment box. Okay, so ako muna magtatanong, di ba, Isa? My first question is, you've worked with a lot of celebrities actually. It's amazing. You're friends with a number of them after the process of working with them. That's how personal I think the process of organizing is, no, with you. So can you share with us some of your most recent or most memorable projects with some of your favorite artists?
Actually, I am blessed, no? Kasi parang most of the celebrities that I've worked with have been very kind, and parang they're very open talaga to have someone help them also. So I'm really grateful for that. And nung una parang ako talaga yung natatakot, na parang oh my God, parang why are they contacting me? Parang bakit ako? So parang but later on parang I realized na when I go to their house, we have the same problem pala, especially the mommies, no, like Cheska, Kramer, Mary, Miranda. Um, they are parang, I get to connect more with them in terms of that level na pareho kaming nanay and pareho kaming homemaker, more than parang that feeling of celebrity siya and parang untouchable ganyan. But the thing is, that's how I also realized how universal organizing, cleaning, and homemaking is. That no matter who you are, whether you are a celebrity or a single individual or a teenager, you aspire to have a space that is beautiful, that is homey, the likes of Catherine Bernardo and Danielle Padilla. I mean, who would have thought that they will find me and allow me to help them fix their closet. So in fact, I have another project with Catherine that we're cooking up. Hopefully, we get to finish that soon also. So yeah, and then the relationship also that I build with them afterwards, kasi parang feeling siguro nila, parang I've been a part of their homes as well. So minsan sa akin nila hinahanap yung mga gamit nila. Not that kinukuha ko disclaimer na. Pero,
That's like your mom. Ma, hindi ko mahanap yung cellphone ko. Saan mo ba nilagay? That's you. Isa, nasa mo ba nilagay?
Ayan.
Oh my.
So ganyan. So nakakatuwa lang kasi parang magme-message sila sa akin na Isa, saan na natin nilagay yung ganito? So because I document everything, I can send them photos and then binibilugan ko na lang, dito natin yung nilagay, may label dyan. So you'll see it there. So yeah, so it's nice that I have those kinds of relationship with my clients, and not just with my clients, no, even the online encounters that I have. That's why when you mentioned kanina na parang to those who will be asking questions, feel free lang to ask me questions, send me a message in Instagram and in Facebook, because I try as much as possible to answer talaga each of the queries that I receive in any of my social media platforms. So yeah.
Speaking of answering queries, we have a question here from Raven Villanueva. Thank you for sending in your question, Raven. For Isa, is there any basic, or do you have any basic tricks for your desk when you're arranging your desk for work from home or online schooling? That is super relevant now because I also organized a space in my house dedicated especially for work at home. So any tips when you're building that?
You know what? I learned this when I was working in HR. When I was working in HR, we have this policy wherein it's the clean desk policy. Meaning, bawal kang mag-iwan ng kahit na anong klaseng papel on your workstation after office. So you can you can create a clutter while you are working. It's fine, but make sure that afterwards you get to keep everything, or else ma-audit ka. So if you can also have that habit of cleaning your desk, at least kahit papano, the following day you can start with a clean workspace. Kasi parang if you always if iniiwan mo lang yung trabaho mo sa desk mo, parang you have that feeling of hindi ka natatapos. You know? And it goes for like the other parts of the house as well. Like in our kitchen, I allow that we don't have to move back all the plates dun sa lalagyanan, throughout the day. But definitely at night we have to keep everything, and we have to tuck in everything and make sure that when we wake up in the morning, it's a good day and another day today, na parang natapos ba yung araw? Parang ganun, hindi ganun yung feeling. So if we can practice that, and the same goes for my kids. I let them, create all the clutter that they want during school hours. But after school hours, I want to make sure that they also know the importance of keeping everything back to where it belongs. So those kinds of simple habits, kasi mas madaling mag-sort and mas madaling ibalik kung saan siya if you do it religiously than doing it in one go.
Yeah,
So I hope
natatambak
that,
When, di ba,
yeah.
pagka you wait, you procrastinate, natatambak, tas ganito nakataas yung papel mo. It's
Yes.
parang, ano ba to? Hindi ko alam which is scratch, which is not.
Yes, if I can just share with you, Jovi, no, I have this one client that I'm assisting online because I also have an online consultancy program now because pivot is the name of the game this year. So
Right.
I'm doing online consultancy now, and that's one of our projects. So she wanted to have a clear and sorry, hello. So they wanted to have they wanted to have like a clear desk and when we were sorting through the papers, when she was sorting through the papers, we saw a circular when her daughter was in third year high school. So can you imagine? And her daughter is now working professional. I think 25 years old na yung daughter niya. And meron pa siyang circular nung third year high school yung anak niya. So I told her, will that paper pass as a scratch paper? Meaning, empty ba yung likod? Wala bang sulat yung likod? Kasi if walang sulat yung likod, ilagay natin siya sa scratch paper file. But apparently, the paper is back-to-back my print. So wala talaga siyang gamit for it.
Yeah.
And I told her that if it's a sentimental item, then make sure you move it in a box if you really want to be reminded that you were once a mommy of a third-year high school. But if it doesn't have a meaning now, then why not throw? Imagine ilang years na siyang nasa ibabaw ng table na yon. And can you imagine like how like if ever meron siyang kailangang hanapin na document, ilang beses na niyang nabasa yung circular na yon? Because ilang beses na niyang nabasa yung circular na yon kasi kailangan niyang to skim through it every time, right? So it has to we have to let go of that na. So that's what I mean by do not let things pile up and have a religious habit of keeping your items where it should belong.
Right. Clean slate every day.
Yes.
Oh, okay. We have another question from Eman Bautista. This one, natamaan din ako ng question niya. Sabi niya, how do you encourage someone who's a hoarder to start letting go? Because, well, ako, mga 2-3 years ago, I was really hoarding McDonald's toys. That's so weird for my age, I know. But they have really interesting toys once in a while that's based from a cartoon that I like. And then there's another cartoon that I like. Isang cabinet na siya, na 2 layers ng cabinet na punong-puno ng McDonald's toys. And I really never got to. It's still hidden in that cabinet. So I never really got to sorting that out because of as a hoarder, you have all of these feelings attached. It's not just clutter, eh. It's it's you wanted to collect it, you wanted to keep it. So how do we let go of those feelings?
Actually, basically for me naman, Jovi, no, as long as it's important to you and it really you really find joy in looking at those items, it's fine to keep. Wala namang problema doon. As long as it defines who you are, it's fine. But again, not to compromise yourself, the space that you are moving in. Kasi, at the end of the day, ang nawawala kasi sa equation is when we buy things, we forget to ask ourselves, do I have space for it? Diba? And my husband and I, since we started living in a condo, and then we moved abroad in Hong Kong, which is a much smaller space, parang it's always part of the question. Like parang pag may bibilhin kami, we only have 2 questions in mind. And that is, do we have money for it? And do we have space for it? So normally, number 1 pa lang parang, ay, hindi na natin mabibili. so hindi na ako punta sa step 2. But the other question is really important kasi if you don't have a space for it, then you ask yourself, am I going to make a space for it? Or I'm going to do some adjustments at home so that it will fit in. Because if you don't consider that, then chances are it will end up on the floor, on the shelf, under the bed, tambak ulit sa storage. So, ganun yung mangyayari sa kanya. So, ask yourselves, if you are, let's not say a hoarder na lang, very negative, collector na lang of things. Collector of things. Okay, so if you are a collector of things, then assess yourself, assess your space. Do I have a space for all of these collections? And if I don't, then you do the homework technique. Kasi mahirap kasi if right away ang iisipin mo is how do I declutter and let go? Kasi doon talaga nahihirapan yung mga tao eh. But if you sort it, you get to have a visual inventory of what you have. For example, you hoarded, let's say, lots of lotions, diba? Mahilig ka sa skincare and ganyan. And nakita mo na parang yung lotion mo is umabot na sa 100 bottles. Isa lang naman yung katawan mo. How often do you put lotion? So those are the questions that you're going to ask. Mabango pa ba yung iba? Baka naman hindi na.
Expired na.
Diba? And the thing is kasi, yung sa atin, since ang practice natin in storing is kung saan maluwag, doon natin siya ilalagay, let's not make that a habit because if you sort like items together, diba? Ang luma ng reference ko, pag sama-samahin, ang pare-pareho. So,
sa mga hindi nakagets ng reference, alam na yung age natin. Kasi nakarelate tayo sa reference ko. Okay.
Luma nung reference ko, Jovi. Okay, so pag pinagsama-sama mo yung parang nasi-streamline mo yung process of sorting. Because once you see that yung pare-pareho nagpa-pile up na, then you can stop yourself. Oops, teka lang, dumadami na yung white shirts ko or dumadami na yung pants ko na hindi ko pala nasusuot. So the process of elimination then is easier because those things that you don't get to wear na, you can take it out, diba? And make room for more. So if you are going to encourage someone who is not ready yet, and you want to prepare them for that, then I encourage that you do sorting first and allow them to understand how much of the same items they own. And then unti-unti natin gawin yung process. So definitely in Pinoy style, the technique is much simpler and much kinder.
Right.
Diba? When you tackle it, and you get to assist also the feelings behind it. Kasi the least that we want to have is resentment over it. You know, ba't ko nga ba tinapon yun? But, diba, ang hirap lalo i-process nung gano'n eh, diba? Lalo na pag hindi ka pa ready. So let us prepare ourselves for that as well. And then once you're ready and understand na parang, sarap pala ng space na ganito, no? Konti lang yung gamit. Edi at least mas buo yung process. You get to have that feeling talaga of being at home. So, there.
Okay, another question from Megan Louise Hernandez. She is living in a small condo with her brother, and according to her, we don't have a proper working space. I'm working from my bed. Oh, sad. Do you have any tips or advice for people living in small space? Yeah, this is very important now because everyone's at home trying to study and work. So how do you do that?
Well, for those who are living in a small space, no, I would suggest get everything foldable. So, kasi diba, like when we were living in when we were living in the Hong Kong, we have a very small space. Alam mo yun, parang after 3 steps, ayun na yung nasa loob ka na ng bahay. And then after 4 steps, nasa living area ka na. After 5 steps, nasa bedroom ka na. So, ganun lang siya kaliit. And I have 2 kids at the time. So, what we got is actually a foldable dining table that on normal days, it can sit 3 people. But if we want if we invite some of our friends, it can sit up to 6. So, na-extend siya. And then, if my kids want to play, I can actually bring down both sides and parang ganito na lang siya kanipis. And then my kids can freely go and run dun sa entire area nung condo. So if you can come up with, or if you can buy those kinds of things that are space saving, you know, if you don't have any options talaga where to work but just the bed, I still suggest that you get like, you know, yung mga yung parang you just have to slide it in and then
Uh-huh.
may table ka na, I still
Right.
suggest that because uh, what's going to happen naman if you always work on the bed and parang lounging lang on the bed, parang you don't get to be productive. So that at least kung meron kang automatic na workstation there, pagtayo mo pa lang alam mo na oops, it's time to be
Okay.
productive. Then parang hindi na nabago yung pwesto mo, nang gumising ka, tapos nag-work ka na, tapos tutulog ka na
You got
ulit.
it.
So, yeah, so at least have that habit also on how you ensure that you have the proper mindset on how to be productive in such a small space, no?
That's right. That's a big challenge now because of the pandemic. So this is a cool question since you're a mom. From Din Real Bautista, tama ba yan, Din? My
Mga kaibigan ko
4-year-old
tong mga nagtatanong.
to mga to, kayo talaga. I-message nyo na lang kaya to kay Isa. Well, her 4-year-old daughter, for everyone who's watching that makaka-relate din, I'm sure. My 4-year-old daughter loves to doodle and write stories. We have tons of used drawing pads already, and it's taking up so much space in our little condo. How can I let go? So hard.
Okay, so this is what I do with my kids. I actually have a binder, like a binder folder of my kids. Each of them has one. And syempre, nung maliit sila, kahit yung may mga ilong, may mata, tinatago ko yan. But I mean, throughout the years, I learned that taking photos is very, very good for physical clutter. Kasi I just take photos, and what you can do with those photos is actually convert it to a coffee table book and maybe give it out as gifts for Christmas. Diba? Good pa to give to the lolo and to the lola and all their artworks. They're in a coffee table book, and it could last pa much longer than those mga paper plates na merong ilong, may tenga, diba? And but now that my kids are older, especially with my 9-year-old and my 7-year-old, with their artworks, um, much as I want to keep everything, I also process it with them and I ask them, "Are you proud of this work?" And if they say yes, I keep it. I also ask them, "Do you want to keep this artwork?" If they say no, mom, you throw it. So sometimes parang, ang ganda-ganda, ba't ko itatapon? Pero I have to respect them also. They're the ones who did it. So if they want to let it go, then I have to respect that. So we only have a few in their binder folders that they're really proud of. And at least they also own to their, they own it up as well. But the sense of ownership is actually theirs. And sometimes if I really, really like the drawing, I tell them, can mommy have this instead? So, para may compromise naman kasi minsan ang hirap talagang i-let go. But again, you will be surprised talaga how you can actually learn a lot from your kids also. And how, that's why I believe that homemaking is for everyone because you can never be too young and too old to be a homemaker. And the fact that sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, sometimes my kids get it, is my cue that, I can start them young in teaching them and ensuring that they also understand what homemaking is about.
That's right. Okay, so as we come to the close of this very special book launch of Isa and Meetup Sessions, I wanted to ask you, Isa, because you've been you've transitioned from being a mom to being a professional organizer and now to being an author. Can you share with us some of your learnings from this journey and how we can, pick up some tips from you?
Well, if there's like an ultimate learning from all that is happening to me, I learned that God listens to our prayers. Even those prayers that we're having a hard time uttering, those prayers that are in our hearts. I never planned to be an author in this lifetime. And because my only prayer when I started Meet Obsessions is to reach out to as many Filipino homemakers as possible, I thought that my reach is limited to my social media pages. But I never thought that this is another way for him to answer my prayer, to reach out to more Filipino homes and start the advocacy of homemaking. I wanted to create a community of homemakers where we can safely share how we can create the space that we wanted in our homes, and that it's not limited to mothers. Kasi nga, di ba, pag homemaker ka, normally, dun ka papasok sa mga Facebook groups about motherhood, about, di ba? And what about naman those others who are living alone, who are men, and sometimes yung iba nagdo-dorm. So how will they learn also? So that's the community that I wanted to create with Neat Obsessions, and I hope that through this book, they will be able to understand the beauty of homemaking. So there.
That's amazing. The Neatropolis, is that right? The
Yes.
Neatropolis is growing because of this book. So, and everyone who wants to join this beautiful Neatropolis community of Issa Reyes, if you haven't yet, please do check out the Neat Obsessions book, which is now available on National Bookstore online and through the Lazada app for a very special 10% discount only today up till the end of the Philippine Readers and Writers Festival. Okay. So thank you so much, Issa. Thank you for being with us today. I thank you for your time and patience with all of us, our questions.
Thank you also, and thank you to everyone who tuned in, and to those who already brought the book. Thank you so much. It has been an overwhelming 2.5 weeks since we launched, since we released the book, and I cannot imagine na ganun yung magiging feedback ng mga tao. But last tip lang last lang to. If you think that you need to declutter my book, do so. If you think that there's no space in your house and you need to declutter my book, do so. Because I want to take this opportunity also that as Pinoys, when we give out gifts or when we buy something, if it's something that no longer defines your life, then feel free to, either sell it or donate it or let go. Kasi at the end of the day, you don't want to have a house full of clutter, and ensure that you have a breathing space and a space that you can be healthy and be peaceful, right? So tayo kasi mga Pinoy na extend yung ownership ng pagbibigay natin ng gift after natin mabigay yung regalo. So yung mga tao parang hindi ko ma-let go kasi bigay hindi ganito.
Right.
So diba? So parang yung sa akin lang is, again, you do you. And then if ever you want to do an organizing festival, as how I call it, just do small steps at a time. So don't overwhelm yourself. Do little goals first. Diba? Organize a drawer first, not your entire house, kasi it will overwhelm you. So small progress is still a progress. So thank you so much.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much, Isa. And on behalf of National Bookstore and ABS-CBN Books, we want to thank, of course, all of you for joining us today, for joining Isa, for joining me. So please, if you want to shop for the Neat Obsessions book, please do so at the National Bookstore website and on the official National Bookstore store in Lazada app. So again, you can get 10% off on all local books, including Neat Obsessions, and up to 20% off on important books when you shop online from September 25 to October 4 only. So we've got 3 more days. Take that opportunity, guys. Check out now, limited stock available. There are more virtual events coming up for the 2020 Philippine Readers and Writers Festival. So you can check that out. Check the complete lineup by visiting www.readersandwritersfestival.com or follow National Bookstore on Facebook at NBS Alert and Instagram on at National Bookstore. Thank you, guys. Please get a copy of Meet Obsessions. See you next time.
What should I remind you about?
Narinig ako ng cellphone ko nagsalita.
Ha?
Narinig yung may cellphone ko nagsalita siya. The end.
Parang wala naman.
Wala, okay. Nung nagsasalita ako, narinig niya ako. Tapos nagsalita din siya.
Yung sa akin man nag-ring, nakakaloka.
Yung code mo yun?